Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the Shankly Sessions, and this is your Carabao Cup final match reaction. I'm not going to do player ratings tonight, by the way, boys, because I thought everyone was a minimum of an 8. I don't think anyone really had a bad game, being honest. Joining me tonight, Ian, how are we?
Not so well.
Yeah. Look, I'm gassed that we won it, but I wouldn't be rubbing it, that kind of way. Look, it was a great game. It's a great cup and stuff like that. Also joining us from Retrotainment, Ted, how are we coming here as the neutral?
Yeah, neutral fan. It's always great to watch Penos as a neutral because your heart's not fucking pumping and you're not fucking shitting yourself. You'd have been on the wrong end of it now a couple of times. So nice to be on the other, not on the other end, but not having to worry about the shootout.
Penos are really a heartbreak, aren't they? Ian,
yeah.
Kick it off first. Where do we begin? First of all, I suppose let's look at the lineups. I'm sure you would have been buoyed by the news that we lost Thiago in the warm-up to a muscle injury, I think it was. And also we had mentioned on the preview.
Is that what he was crying about for the whole game, was it?
Yeah, he was pretty upset. And, I get that, big occasion at Wembley, wanting to play, really playing well at the moment and stuff like that. Nah, it's emotional. It gets emotional. And also Mendy starting. We spoke on the
all joking aside, I wasn't sure what he was upset about, but then I heard about it because I was thinking, is the whole Ukrainian thing after getting to him? Because it was really kind of the way Wembley done it. Like I thought, shit, it looks like it's got to this kid. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then I heard he had hurt himself, and obviously he was looking forward to a final in Wembley. And I never like hearing anybody's. Look, I never enjoy someone getting injured and they can't play because they're injured. So even though I'd love to banter on that one, like I hope he recovers quick, and I hope those tears dry up soon because my tears are more salty than his. So
yeah,
best to get well soon, Thiago.
I don't know if you picked up on it as well. I thought the two sort of comic book things that they rolled out on the pitch were really cool. But it was weird because one of them had Kepa on it.
Really cool.
Yeah, one of them had Kepa on it and not Mendy, and yet Mendy started. And the other one had Jota on it, and Jota was on the bench and didn't start either. So it was kind of strange that way.
The two boys, do your market research, lads.
Yeah. I suppose they'd both been probably influential in the previous rounds and stuff like that. I mean, we know Jota had scored in quarters and semis as well, and Kepa had played his part as well.
Well, it's good that we get to talk about Kepa's last game ever in football tonight, so I suppose.
Yeah, I don't know. Are you doing him a hard one there on that? No?
Me, I would have accepted a hard one.
What did you make first half? I mean, we seemed to start a little bit sluggish. Our passing was a bit sort of all over the place a little bit. We were giving up possession fairly early, and Chelsea had got a foothold in the game in the early stages of the first half.
Yeah, look, realistically, I knew that those missed chances would come back to bite us in the arse today. Like, yourself, you're a smart football fan, Niall. We probably should have been 2-0 up. It's 60 minutes in when you look at those two chances with. Obviously, in the first half with Pulisic and Mount, and then Mount basically one-on-one, fluffing his lines, and then Liverpool, and I knew there was going to be a response. Now, that's not to say that Chelsea were all over Liverpool. It was a very, very even game, but I think you would even admit that the clear-cut chances in the early part of the game were very, very much so Chelsea's way.
Yeah, I think if you look at it, I think in terms of possession, we shaded it slightly when you look at the stats. But I think in terms of, let's say, real world chances, I think Chelsea created some real world chances. Now, obviously, Matip scored and it being disallowed because of Van Dijk and Reece James and obviously Mane missing that chance as well. That double save from Mendy. Have you seen a better double save ever in Wembley? Unbelievable. Incredible.
Yeah,
so Ian, that double save from Mendy.
Yeah, man. Like, you know what? The funny thing is, when you were watching it in real time, the first save was obviously a cracker because it was a great shot. But then the second one looked like Mane missed a sitter. because that's, I think, what Gary Neville thought as well. But because he said, he goes, oh, how did he miss? And then you went back and watched it. The fact that, oh my God, that's stuff that you see like in World Cups and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And you go, well, what a keeper. Yeah. And I think Mendy today showed everyone why, you know, Chelsea value him so highly. It was world class. And by the way, the boy Kelleher today, just a shout out to Kelleher. I know he's an Irish kid, and you know, as much as it pains me to say, like, the kid had a cracking game as well, to be fair, and to, you know, to step up and take a penalty the way he did as well. So just wanted to, from the opposition side, even though it might sound salty, I genuinely mean it. But I mean the saltiness that I'm delivering it in. But 100%, you know, Kelleher today was absolutely fantastic too. So
yeah, Ted, what
I
did
thought the up and down from Mendy, like getting up and Sorry there, Niall. I was just saying, I think that his up and down, like that's the tough part of goalkeeping. That's the real tough part of the goalkeeping. Like making a save, one save is tough. Like there's no denying that. But it's when you have to make that second double save or triple save. That's when you really see who the top keepers are and who the fakers are, you know. And Mendy showed it, you know. Like I've been critical of some stuff from Mendy in the past, but as a shot stopper, he's always been solid. And as Ian said, Kelleher had a great game. Kelleher's played kind of most of this tournament. I always think it's a little bit strange when a keeper gets dropped. I always think it's a little bit unfair when they get dropped when they get to the final. It happened to Romero at United. It's obviously happened to Kepa here, but I think it was the right call.
Do you think, Ted, maybe that's why he brought Kepa on then, maybe just because obviously with his penalty saving record as well, maybe he said, right, well, look, I'll put you on for the penalties now, you know, as a kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I think Kepa has got a good record of saving penalties, but he's played the full game when that's been the case. So I always think it's a risk sending a keeper in cold. Obviously, we've seen it in the World Cup a few years ago when Tim Krul was sent in cold and he fucking had an unbelievable thing. But that's 1 in a million. So I think it's always a risk to do that. I also think Kepa, you know, if I was a manager, I wouldn't be putting Kepa on just for the penalties anyway. After, you know, his reputation at the club, I still would have been, even if he was a good keeper, I'd have been like, nah, fuck you, mate. Like after the last thing you pulled when you were asked to come off, you're not coming on anyway.
But I think that's unfair, Ted. I mean, that's a long time ago. I mean, he's gotten a bit of credit back since then. He's played in some really good games, and he's deputised for Mendy when he's come in. He's been exceptional. I don't think you could still throw that one at him. That was a very different time under a very different regime. And
I think he's come out and he's owned that as well. In fairness, he's come out. It was under a different manager, a different regime.
Yeah,
he's come out and he's owned that, and he said he was wrong. At the end of the day, the boy has come in. You know. I know the Dazzler, if he was here now as well, he's not a big fan of Kepa. And look, I'm not saying I'm Kepa's biggest fan either. However, I mean, the kid has fucking learned the lesson. Like, he's deputised admirably, you know, in Mendy's absence. And also the fact that he knows he's a £70 million goalkeeper. Not once has he didn't go and do an interview with, you know, Sky Spain and talk about how he'd love to be back at fucking, you know, Atletico Bilbao. You know what I mean? So I know you're going to get on to Lukaku later as well. I'm interested to have that conversation. But no, I think, Ted, I see where you're coming from. But I do think we don't really need to be shooting bullets, you know, firing bullets at Kepa anymore. I think, you know, he made a mistake. He's learned from it, and he's, you know, I think he's absolutely deputised admirably, as Niall said, to be fair.
Yeah, I think, I suppose from my point of view, they talk about when goalkeepers go in there, you know, they need to get that feel of the game and that you know, get up to speed, especially in Wembley with such a huge crowd, get that atmosphere and become
Ted made that point as well. Yeah.
And I think maybe the point, and it's a good point that Ted made, maybe he should have come on at the start of extra time to get into the game or something like that, and then move into the penalties or something like that. You know, I think going on cold like that. And you could see it in him as well before he came on. He was sitting in the seats in there in Wembley, and he was looking at the gloves, and he was trying to get himself. I think he was trying to G himself up into the game because he wasn't in it. Whereas, and I think Mendy had an outstanding game as well with some of the saves he made. You know, I just wonder maybe, you know, we know how good Tuchel is as a coach, and I just wonder maybe when you've seen the saves that Mendy made, maybe was a time to turn around and go, you know something, sit down here, we're going to stick with this. And is that where the coach earns his money?
We'll go with this, yeah.
Is that where the coach, and look, who's to say Mendy could have went in there, he may not have even saved some of the penalties, and Liverpool may still have won. We'll never know. But I think if you've got Mendy there in goals and he's making those saves that he was making today, it's hard to make a decision to pull him, and especially at that stage, you know. I think it's a strange one. My point really would be, I think if Kepa has brought you all that way to the final, I think Kepa should have started. That's what I think.
Yeah, and I did say that, you know, United did it to Romero as well, and I do think it's a little bit unfair, but I get there, you know, it's getting to a final, and Chelsea have been on a little bit of a slump recently, let's say. Like, they're not dropping points everywhere, but they're not as strong as they were, you know, at the start of the season. So maybe this was Tuchel's idea. He was like, if I can get this win, like if we can just win this, it'll G the boys back to like really challenging again. And that's probably what he was thinking. But I don't know. For me, I don't think you should be bringing a player to take a penalty or save penalties on with 1 minute left to go in the game. Like you know, you saw it in the World Cup, or not in the World Cup, in the Euros with England. Like, they brought 3 players on to take a penalty in the last minute, and it backfired on them. And I wouldn't say it backfired, because I don't think any of the penalties were particularly awful here, except maybe Liverpool's second to last one was quite poor. But other than that,
Kepa got a hand to it. He was so unlucky. He actually got a hand to it, and it just slid into the net. If you go back and look at it
was weak wrists, as the Dazzler said. You know, weak wrists.
Very unlucky. In terms of the second half, then, lads, I mean, obviously the second half kind of started out the same as the first half, where Liverpool came out a little bit sluggish and a little bit slack again with their passing, and Chelsea got a foothold in the game again. And then we had, let's talk about Naby Keita and the challenge with himself and Chalobah.
I think Dazzler obviously said it as well, yeah.
Yeah, well, I think to be honest with you, and even as a Liverpool fan, I think on any other day, if that was a league game or something like that, he may have seen red. But I think the occasion maybe got to the ref. But
the fact that it wasn't even a free kick or a yellow, Niall, is what really bothers me.
I think what happened is both players were being treated on the ground, and I think what happened was, I think the situation moved on without realising it had moved on, and I think that's what evolved.
But what I will say is, occasions or not, these refs are paid mega money to make mega decisions. That's why they're paid mega money. This isn't some lad going down to Ardmore, you know, getting paid 50 quid, you know, for doing 3 games in a day or something, you know what I mean, and has to sit taking a load of abuse. This is someone who's actually supposed to be reffing a cup final where every decision matters. And the fact is actually that their decision matters the most. You know, it's a different game if you go down to 10 men. It's a different game. You know, but the fact that, but even I'll work with you here. Like, so okay, one lad sees that as just a fairly unlucky challenge where it goes into the old nether region, and you know what, I'll give you that. You know what I mean? Personally, I think it's a red. I'm on the opposition, so of course I'm going to think that. And I'm guarantee if that was Kovacic, you'd be saying straight red. And if you lost penalties today, you would be saying straight red. However,
and I think as well, I think it was an interesting challenge. It was an interesting insofar as he wasn't flashing the cards that quick either. There was a couple of tasty challenges went in and stuff like that that people got away with. You know what I mean? And I think, if you think about it, I think the Kovacic was the only booking, wasn't it? So late on in the game, like.
Yeah, because that was kind of what they call professional foul, kind of, yeah. Which and rightly so. Do you know what I mean? I've no problem with that. I think the point I'm trying to make is that he shouldn't be getting wrong the fact that the 2 boys are on the ground, that it's still a free kick to Chelsea and the yellow card has to come out. You know what I mean? That's where the Chelsea fans, and you know, as a Dazzler in our own little group chat, kind of called me over being a bit of a tinfoil hat wearer, which is fair enough because we all do that when we're watching. We always think everyone's against us, and that's just part of football, right? But I don't blame Keita for that. I know he didn't go in and intentionally do that, because I could see that he did. It was the follow through. He didn't fucking actually try to, hurt the guy.
Yeah, I think when you're seeing it in real time, it was two guys going in for a ball. I think it's when you look back at it in slow motion, that's when you see the foot going into the groin area nearly, and it looks really, really
But
bad.
I'm okay with no red card there on that, believe it or not. I'm actually okay with that. I'm not gonna that's not my beef, to be fair. I think that's an old school challenge, you know what I mean, on a Tuesday night at Stoke. No, the ref definitely, those littles you expect to be made. Like, how is there no yellow and how is there no free kick for the opposition on that? Like, so you know what I mean? If we're going to judge someone offside by a fingernail, well then surely, studs in the bollocks should count as a yellow card.
I would have thought so.
I think from a neutral point of view, I think he's about right. I think on another day, like in a league game, you might see a red for that. But I don't think it is necessarily a red, because it's not done with malicious intent, and I don't think he's particularly out of control either. I don't think he's lost control. It's just a coming together. I do think it's a yellow, and I think even if it's a yellow, that does change the way that the player plays. Because if you're in a cup final and you're on a yellow, you know that one more bad tackle could put your team down to 10 men, and it does. And your manager then has to think about it as well, right? Do I need to take Keita off? Like, am I playing with fire here? And I do think that makes it a bit different. And I think the ref did a little bit bottle it today. I know he was letting a couple of fouls go, and I like to see that in a final, because I don't want a final getting stopped for every small little niggly foul. But there's a certain level where you have to start calling things, and you have to start handing out bookings, because if you're not handing out any bookings, you get something similar to the Leeds United game from a couple of weeks ago, as you and Darren said, on the upper tier, where, the boys are, the ref's not going to send me off, so I'll just do whatever I feel like here. And I know this game didn't go down that route, but I think refs need to realise that is something that they need to make sure they control. So I do think a yellow probably would have been fair there. And I don't know if it would have changed the game massively, but it could have had an impact. I suppose everything could have an impact somewhere, I suppose. But I think, yellow and a free is probably would have been fair there.
Yeah, Ted, as a neutral today, what did you make of the boy Luis Diaz?
He was quality again today. He was a great signing now if he was to come in. A great bit of business, and I know it was a little bit rushed, because I know Liverpool had planned to kind of sign him maybe at the start of next season, to let him come in and do a full training, and then obviously other people looked like they were ready to go.
Tottenham had a almost an agreement.
So he's jumped in, and we're like, no, we're not letting that one go anyway. Get that in. But I thought he had a decent game. Like, he's probably still settling in a bit at Liverpool. I know he scored in previous weeks, but I think he's still probably settling into the style. And I know this isn't the Premier League, but it's basically a Premier League game. You know what I mean? The physicality of the Premier League is going to be there in this game, because it's two Premier League teams.
It felt really like Ian. I don't know if you picked up on it. It felt like a Champions League semi-final or something, didn't it? With the way
it was a beautiful. Obviously I didn't get the outcome that I wanted, but like when I actually, look back in the game, it was a beautiful game to be kind of a part of. Not like that we were in it, but like to watch. You know what I mean?
Yeah. As 0-0s go. As a
0-0 goes, it was a good 0-0.
It was one of the best 0-0s I've seen. And I know you mentioned Luis Diaz, but my God, lads, how much has Kai Havertz also stepped up?
He was the next one I had on the list. He was excellent today.
He was without just his movement. He glides along the pitch. I would almost say he has Zidane-esque type qualities. Do you know what I mean, in terms of the pass that he sees? The way he can you can't get the ball off his foot. I like seeing that little bit of shithousery at the end as well, where he went head to head with fucking Trent, because usually he's and then that little midget coming in annoyed me. Then Harvey Elliott, he's only back a fucking wet week and he's pushing lads, and then I thought, all right, Kovacic has got this sorted now. No problem.
I couldn't believe it. I was watching the thing with Trent and Kai Havertz, and the next thing, Harvey Elliott just comes flying onto the screen out of nowhere. I thought he had ran nearly off the bench at one stage.
I was like, what are you doing? What are you doing, man, you lunatic? It was like, now, in fairness, I didn't wish any ill will on the kid. I was like, but I mean, I got annoyed. But then I saw Kurt Zouma then going with Milner. And I was like, Milner, you want to walk away from that one? He's a lunatic. He is on a different fucking spectrum.
It was Rudiger. It wasn't Zouma.
with the mind more so.
Yeah, it was Rudiger though. It wasn't Kurt Zouma. Definitely wasn't Kurt Zouma.
Oh, sorry, Rudiger.
Rudiger. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he'd have been kicking the cats.
Zouma would have been finding the biggest pussy there and kicking it.
Now that the cat's out of the bag with that one, I didn't.
yeah, absolutely. I did like at the end when the Chelsea boys came down.
My error.
When the Chelsea boys came.
Yeah, no. It's almost like I set that up on purpose, isn't it?
Yeah. When the Chelsea boys came down.
I mention one thing, lads. Yeah. Lukaku looked good today. Sorry, we had a little bit of a 10-second delay here, I think.
I'm just getting rid of the...
Yeah, sorry, that's my fault.
The mascot's after walking in there, so I just have to push them back out.
See, what we do in the podcast world, if we know that there's a little bit of a lag, what we do is we kind of try and speak in the hope that, the person that's lagging will kind of catch up. So my apologies if you hear us speaking over each other. It's not done in
no.
It's not done in rudeness at all.
Yeah. What did you make, Ian? What did you make of the substitutions? I know we spoke about it briefly off, and we spoke about. I was surprised that he drew the two boys out. I thought they were having an impact on the game.
I still think his subs were good, man. To be honest with you, like for quite a while there, I think Timo Werner was a little bit positive. Look, I'm over the fact that Timo Werner at Chelsea is not going to work out. I'm over it now. Do you know what I mean? I know that he needs to be sold in the summer. I think, like if you said to me, you get to keep one of Pulisic or Timo Werner, who do you pick? I'm keeping Pulisic, to be honest. He looked kind of lively as well. Pulisic, him and Mount were fantastic. I really felt sorry for Mount that he couldn't finish today. But look, kid's only coming back from injury and stuff like that. He had a very, very good game. The fact that he was even on the pitch, it was great to see Reece James back. So I just wanted to say that after that injury that he had. But no, Niall, I thought the subs were good. I thought Lukaku looked a lot more like the Inter Milan Lukaku that we bought because he was chasing back. You know what I mean? He was actually, and he scored in my opinion, a completely clean goal that meant it wouldn't have even. It meant it wouldn't have even went to penalties. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it.
I think if you give that one, then you probably have to give the Matip one as well, don't you?
Well, no, because Van Dijk actually held the player as well in the process. So it was a foul.
It's still soft enough, though, isn't it?
No, I 100% agree with you that it's soft. But at the end of the day, he still held him. You know what I mean? So look, I get it. I'm not gonna. I'm not going to rest my, I'm not going to bet my house on it and say, no, well, it's 100% an offside. But like, come on, he's onside, as the old rules would give us. And it's kind of like New Testament and Old Testament, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like, which one do you believe? That's what the offside rule is these days.
It's weird sometimes with these new rule changes. Even the referees don't keep up with it. It's crazy.
Yeah, but no, I thought Lukaku definitely looked a little bit more lively. I'd be interested to hear you and Ted's take on that because I'm not the biggest Lukaku fan. What you reckon,
Ted? What you're thinking, Lukaku?
I'm the same as Ian. I'm not a huge Lukaku fan. He's shown his true colours enough times now at this point. If things aren't exactly going his way, he'll throw the bus, the club, and everyone around it he'll throw them all under the bus if it suits him. He probably did. He was a little bit better today. I think he'll always look a lot better in that Italian league because it's a little bit slower of a league, so he gets a little bit more time. Whereas in this league, if your first touch isn't clean, the ball is already gone. And especially when you're going to be playing against the likes of a Van Dijk, one slight mistouch and that ball is gone. Like
Matip, by the way, in terms of, if we're talking about defenders today, I just want to shout out to Thiago Silva, 37 years young. Like, good Lord, that lad is still world class, isn't he? But I thought Matip as well, from Liverpool's perspective, was absolutely.
Oh yeah, no, Matip had a great game as well, but just you're gonna like Lukaku's Italian league against a Premier League defense usually. He was getting up and down the pitch a bit more, but at the same time, getting up and down the pitch and not doing he wasn't doing a whole lot. Like, he was doing the running, but he wasn't getting into positions that you'd expect him to be getting into. There was one through ball put in over the top near the end, and I thought he should have kind of had that and swung at it first time he tried to take a touch. And I was like, "What? Like, listen, mate, not being funny. Like, I'm not a professional footballer, but I mean, you need to know that your first touch isn't that good and just fucking welly that. Don't try and take that down because it's not in your locker." Like,
no, good shout. And we have to touch on Thomas Tuchel. He's been exemplary, hasn't he, in what he's had to deal with. I think he's been absolutely fantastic in the amount of crap that's been thrown at him over the last 3 to 4 months. I think between Lukaku, between losing Reece, between losing Chilwell, all the other stuff that's gone on, and even this week, I mean, could you have had a worse environment in a build-up to a cup final with everything that's going on in the Ukraine and the stuff with Roman and all that kind of stuff, So I think Tuchel's been excellent.
Yeah, like, even today, obviously getting the news that Roman is kind of stepping back a little bit, but said categorically, the club's not for sale. I don't buy into that. I think I know there's a geezer from that owns the Boston Celtics. He's trying to buy Chelsea as well. So it's going to be one of those things. Like, we're not going to be left without, is what I would say. If Roman stepping down isn't, it's not. Chelsea are going to become obscure, put it that way, because where they are exponentially, where we are, kind of on the map, kind of tells you that whoever, someone's going to buy them, But no, to go back to your point, it was actually quite, I suppose, upsetting coming into the game as a Chelsea fan, hearing that news and knowing that what's going on in Russia is just wrong. Look, at the end of the day, no matter which side you're on, war is always wrong. You know what I mean? And that's my philosophy anyway. War is a racket, isn't that what Jesse Ventura used to say? I'm not a fan of it. But yeah, I'm probably segueing with the question there because there was a lot of emotions even coming into the game, being honest with you. Hearing the news about Roman and the statement that he made, knowing that he's not necessarily a big statement maker, as you know. Coming into the game, it was really fucking weird, and then kind of seeing the whole stadium in unison, about with the Ukraine thing as well, which was lovely to see. It was just a very weird vibe, you know what I mean? You forgot that final until it actually kicked off.
Yeah.
So look, this doesn't hurt Chelsea at all. This result, I don't think. It obviously benefits Liverpool, being 3 points behind Man City. But I don't think it hurts us in any way, shape, or form, considering what he's done. And to touch on your point about Tuchel, listen, he's my manager. That's the way I look at it. He's my manager. I don't care next season if he came 10th. I would still trust his process and go, right, yeah, he's our guy,
Yeah, I think the point you made there is very valid in terms of Liverpool, because obviously we've won it 9 times now, so we're one ahead of Man City now. which was really, really important because they had caught up on us so quick in the last 4 to 5 years with their wins in the League Cup. But it was also important from a point of view that I think we've gone one trophy ahead of United now. I think we're 43 to 42. And I think it could amplify our season in terms of raising it up a bar. But I think it will do that for both teams, because I think when both teams go back and look at this final, they put on a heck of a show and a heck of an advertisement for the League Cup going forward. I thought both teams were absolutely exceptional. And I think not only will it be a springboard for Liverpool in terms of winning the Carabao Cup early on in the season, putting the trophy in the cabinet and going after the other three, but I think for Chelsea as well as a springboard to show up and play like that, with everything that's going on, with everything that Tuchel's had to face, with injuries, with Lukaku, with all that, I think Chelsea will have a very strong run into the end of the season as well. And I think they'll benefit from that game. Maybe not quite as much as Liverpool, but nearly as much, I would think, in terms of performance.
Oh, Ted, did you notice the little love in that Tuchel and Klopp? You never usually see it. They see Klopp holding Tuchel's arse walking over half time and everything.
Very, very strange. I don't know what Roy Keane's going to think about that now. He doesn't like anyone when you're playing on opposing teams ever being nice to each other until the game's over.
Shout out to the Dazzler on that one as well. Yeah, with Keano.
I think also at the end, Ian, as well, the players. There was a lot of respect for the players when the Chelsea boys came down after receiving their medals. There was a lot of respect from the Liverpool players to the Chelsea players, and it was both ways as well. Even Coy walking over to Trent and going, it was what it was kind of thing. It was nice to see that. And Mane and Lukaku and Mane and Mendy. And I seen Klopp even going up to Mendy and all and having a few words and all. I thought that was really nice to see. Even though like it's a battle at times, you know.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful, man. To be honest with you, that's what it should be. That's what life should be about, and that's what football should be about. You know what I mean? Like, we can have our little moments in the sun and give out, you know, and we can have, like, you know, our WhatsApp group and stuff, and like have banter and get to the point where you want to stab someone in the neck almost. but you don't do it. You know what I mean? Because you're like, this motherfucker's winding me up here, and it's the same on the pitch. You know, it's 9 out of 10 times it's wind up, kind of stuff. Even with, although I'm not sure with Diego Costa, I think he genuinely wanted to hurt people. The point I'm making is like that, and probably still does. You know what I mean? But no, 100%. I think seeing the likes of Coy, you know, and Trent and all that, you know, standing together, taking a, like, you know, I saw some of the boys taking a picture together and stuff like that, and it's like, this is what it's all really about. You know what I mean? We can be enemies for 90 minutes, but at the end of this, we're friends. You know what I mean? And I'm all for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Ted, what you're thinking in terms of both teams now running out for the rest of the season? How big is a performance like that in a cup final like that?
Yeah, as I said, like, Chelsea had been in a little bit of a slump coming into this. You know, like they haven't been firing on all cylinders, and part of that is to do with, you know, they lost Chilwell, which was a big loss.
The only thing I will say there, Ted, is their last 3 games they've won, obviously, and then obviously they won the World Club Championship. But what you're saying, just about context on what you're saying, for any Chelsea fans listen to this, I think what Ted is saying is we haven't actually been playing the kind of football that you would come to expect.
Yeah, like these are winning games, but like if we look back at the start of the season, it kind of looked like you were running away with the league, and that's not happening. 100%. And I know, you know, injuries have happened, and then, as Niall said, there's been a lot of other shit that's happened with, like, the likes of Lukaku coming out and saying what he said, things like that, and, you know, there's been a lot to deal with. But I think the result here, although it's a loss, you know, he's went the distance with Liverpool, and, you know, as a United fan, like, I don't like saying it, but, you know, top 2 teams in the Premier League are City and Liverpool, and, you know, it's there's like Chelsea are third, like, there, you know, they're the ones chasing.
Yeah,
but at the moment, the two teams are just right up there, and there's no, like, there's disappointment in losing to them, but there's no shame in losing to teams that are playing that well. And have players like, you know, you have Salah at Liverpool, and, like, the man is unplayable, really, and he was kept quiet for a lot of this game. So I think it'll do wonders for Chelsea to come out and be like, well, we played that game and we played well, we created chances. I think in the kind of coming up to the end, I think Havertz, he had a little look over his shoulder and just taken a little step back, the game would have been over. And that's something that he'll learn with over time. He's still a young lad, so that experience will come to him. But then Liverpool, obviously they're chasing to win the Premier League at the moment, and obviously they're still in the Champions League and whatnot as well. But they're chasing to get that Premier League, and it looked like it was gone up until the results there last week. So winning that cup is going to give them a big bounce now. Like winning any cup is going to give you a big bounce, and it gives you a platform to kind of spring off. And like, listen, lads, we've already got one in the bag, so don't worry. Like if we get nothing else this season, that's already one in the bag. So like, let's just keep pushing, and we'll see.
Takes a little bit of pressure off. And you can do it. Like because winning in a final, there's always pressure on you. So you've proven yourself. We've proven ourselves under pressure. So like, let's just keep going. Yeah. I still think City at the end of this will win the league, but it won't be running away as it was looking like they were going to do. No.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting if later on we get the draw for the Champions League and the Carabao Cup final was a dress rehearsal for a much bigger game in Europe later on in the season.
I have a feeling we could get that old introduction. Yeah.
As I said in the preview, I said I'm okay with a one-off game. I'm not as settled in two-legged affairs.
Yeah, well. To be fair, like your history, with Chelsea is quite good when it comes to like one-off matches. Like whereas in the league, that's where we used to get you. But look, is what it is. Very, very. I can't even say I'm disappointed because I'm not disappointed in anyone. I thought, just to shout out to Kovacic, I thought he was absolutely fantastic again today. I remember looking at Klopp when he was running at him. He goes, "What is this guy?" It was almost as if he was saying, "What is this guy?" Yeah. Same with and same with a lot of Liverpool players. I was like, it really was just the perfect 0-0 final. Unfortunately, as Martin Tyler said, although he was 100% almost willing Liverpool to win the match, I might add. Salah literally picked the ball up at the corner, like, "Oh, Salah!" I was like, "Will you relax, you fucking coffin dodger?" It was kind of like, you know what I mean? But it really was the perfect 0-0 game, though. And Martin Tyler said, "I know penalties are cruel, but like find a better way then." If you have a suggestion. It's unfortunate. You just can't. Look, I knew Kepa stepping up. When I saw Keller hitting that, I went, "That's it. It's over." I just knew. When you know in penalties. Yeah. We've all had it, right? We've all had it with our team. And you've that one thing and you're like, and look, everyone went over to Kepa and look, he didn't even take time to settle on he just wanted that penalty kick gone and hopefully on to the next one. And look, I suppose maybe there was a bit of karma there for him. I don't know.
Yeah, he was it was always going to be a case where he was either going to be a massive hero or a villain, wasn't it? It was kind of shaped that way to finish that way, really, wasn't it? Yeah.
I just wish it was someone like, I wouldn't wish any Chelsea player to miss a penalty, but I wish it was someone other than him, It
was close to being Timo Werner. That man, even as a penalty, that was not a confident one. Like he snuck that by,
and he knew it as well, didn't he? You could tell when he walked away. Yeah. It was kind of like,
if you're a striker and you're 7th or 8th on the list, was he 8th on the list? To be he's 8th on the list behind. You're 8th on the list taking penalties, and you're a striker
behind Trevor.
That's not a good sign. No, well, Chalobah went last, didn't he?
Yeah. Yes. Sorry, you're right. Yeah.
He was after Kante, Kovacic.
He was
Rudiger.
just before Thiago.
Yeah, like
actually, yeah. If you're actually, that's a good point. Kovacic didn't take him because he was taken off. But no, but what you said there, Ted, is actually a really good point. If you're behind Kante on the pecking order of penalties,
you've got questions to be asking yourself if you're meant to be the striker.
I think he will be the guy to go in the summer. 100%. I think he will be the guy.
I think he might be buying 2 new strikers, to be honest.
Well, I think Kai Havertz will definitely be the guy that that stays there. But yeah, I would agree with you. I think.
Well, I mean, I mean the other lad as well, Lukaku.
Oh well, the lad behind you, yeah.
Lukaku. I think two of them might be gone.
Well, hopefully.
But yeah, I think he was lucky to sneak that one past, and then obviously Kepa with his weak wrists, as we alluded to earlier, just didn't. What did the Dazzler call them? Chocolate wrists, was it? I think that's what he called them, all chocolate wrists with that the second last penalty. He got a big hand to that, and it really shouldn't have gone in.
Yeah.
And then he didn't have the confidence when he stepped up to take that penalty. And as the old saying goes, you have to hit the target to score.
Sure.
And if you balloon it over, like that was bad. Like, and I know I'm not trying to take a dig at you, but that's a bad penalty. Like that thing's going to be up in space for another 6 weeks. Like
I was listening to the comments online about it. The comment online about it was he thought he was taking a kick out and not a penalty. I just thought it was hilarious. That's what they were saying. So yeah, good one.
Yeah.
Well, man, a pleasure having you on for the match reaction. As I said, we're not going to do player ratings because I don't think anyone really got under an 8 today, being honest. I thought everyone was exceptional in their own right. Well, it's harsh on the boy as well. I don't think we should be that harsh on him. He was unlucky, really. This has been the Shankly Sessions match reaction to the Carabao Cup final. No doubt both teams are going to push on and have an electric season in the run-in over the next 2.5-3 months.
And by the way, congratulations, Liverpool. I never said it, so congratulations to Liverpool.
Appreciate that, Paul. Absolutely appreciate it. And I would have no doubt been the same. Until next time, friends. Cheers for that. Thanks for coming on.
Look.